branch is still working better than most others. So we took the decision, and I'm happy that we did it. To give you an impression about the size of the company, in 2019, which was the last year before Corona, we reached with our 35 employees approximately 19.6 million of euros turnover. We had a small decrease in 2020, but still 19.2%. So we lost, let's say, 3%. And I'm really proud to say that with our company Oben-Auf, we are market leader in this business in Slovenia. The roots of our success is the combination of the business model, characterized by the strict focusing of all our activities as highly specialized and professional partner for the roofing sector, and of course our employees, led and guided by our strong local Slovenian management. The main difference between working in this sector in Austria and Slovenia is payment attitude and payment behavior. Austrian roofing sector can pay its bills much faster than the Slovenian colleagues can. And so taking care of the liquidity is even of higher importance here in Slovenia than it is in Austria. And even though we have a long common history for 500 years, we are both members in EU and therefore have the same frame of rights, let's say, and we have the same currency. I can say that I have to say that I have to learn something new every time I come to your country. And believe me, I come to your country pretty often, once a week now for 20 years. And every time I come here, I have to learn something new. For example, Slovenian roofing companies take over really big projects and therefore connected big risks, much bigger than small Austrian companies would do. The consequence is that often in many cases, these small companies cannot really handle these jobs in a way that at the end of the day, they can really take profit out of it. So the risk awareness is much lower here in Slovenia than it is in Austria. Big projects in Austria are, let's say, somehow reserved for bigger companies. Smaller companies do smaller jobs. This is completely different here in Slovenia. I think there is another advantage of Oben-Auf in competition here, which I would like to call that we successfully merge Slovenian and Austrian way of working. Somehow you will find the best of both worlds in Oben-Auf. When Mr. Grilz and I discuss about different things, it's a running gag that he says to me, "Welcome to Slovenia." I have to learn something new, but I think we are pretty successful in merging the best of both worlds in our company. Our company is a Slovenian one. It has a really strong Slovenian identity, which is also shown in the fact that Mr. Grilz is shareholder in the company, and he's a personal friend of mine as well. All this said, I would like to come to a point in which I think Slovenia should act in favor of the whole Slovenian economy. Slovenian employment law overprotects the employees against the employers. And I will try to explain why this is a disadvantage for the Slovenian companies and as a result for the whole Slovenian economy. By protecting the employees that strictly, companies cannot come to a higher performance level because they are not allowed to replace one employer by a better one. As long as an employer behaves well and does his job as well as he can, it's nearly impossible or let's say very, very expensive to dismiss him or her. So the job, the working place is occupied by someone, let's say suboptimal, and a certain part of productivity is lost. And there's a potential in the companies which remains unused. All these small losses in the companies together weaken the position of Slovenian companies and therefore of the whole Slovenian economy. Only strong companies in a strong economical Slovenia can provide and create safe jobs in the long run. Please be sure that my opinion is just a plaidoyer for a well-balanced employment law, giving safety for the employers on one hand, but ensuring the essential dynamic in a changing and challenging economical surrounding. Both partners have to work hard, but still for sure hand in hand. Thank you for listening. Hvala za povabilo. Je me veselilo.
Mr. Spitzer, thank you very much for this presentation and also for describing in a very soft way in which way this problem about the employment law could be triggered by the Slovenian government. We still have 10 to 15 minutes left, and I would invite you to ask questions. Both Mr. Spitzer and I, we are more than happy to answer questions.
Hello, may I?
Yes, of course. Hi.
Nate Gole, Delo Daily.
Hello, Nate.
Hello, I would like to ask you about the question in your survey. Will Slovenia be still interesting investment environment in this year? Why do you think this sharp decline from 91% to 71% in answer yes in this year? Quite sharp decline, and is this also the case in other countries you made the survey?
So the first part of the answer of the question I can answer. I think this downward trend has to do with the economic situation worldwide, and the investment climate worldwide has actually deteriorated. So this is the explanation for us when we see that 2 years ago, 91 of the Austrian subsidiaries that participated in the survey said that they would reinvest in Slovenia, and now it's a smaller percentage, but it's still 71%, and that is pretty high. I cannot tell you about the feedback that we got in the survey for Slovakia, Hungary, and so forth, but we can find it out and get back to you later today and give you the precise figures. Okay. That's quite easy. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
And I would also think that considering the corona situation, companies, they just postpone investment. So we made this survey late November 2020. That was basically at the beginning of the second lockdown. And this is, of course, a good reason for a businessman to think about the timing of the investments. So I think this answer definitely has also to do with the corona crisis.
So if I may, another question is known as,
sure.
Shall we expect another Austrian investments in Slovenia in next years? Maybe the second question, how do you compare the corona measures that have been taken in Slovenia by the state and in Austria?
Yeah. I was I'm constantly comparing the two countries regarding what they do about the corona crisis. And I think that you can compare a lot of these measures. In the beginning, I think each country still had to find the right way to help the citizens and the companies, because on the one hand, production should continue, but on the other hand, it was obvious that also the demand from the customers had to be strong. So in the beginning, the measures were a bit different maybe, but nowadays everything that let's say the measures on the employment sector, that the companies make their employees work just a small number of hours over a certain period, or they pay them 80% and call them back to work whenever work is available. That's pretty much the same as in Austria, yeah. And also, let's say the amount of money that is spent by the government is pretty much the same if we compare the sizes of the economies. So just to repeat it, in the beginning, maybe the measures were a bit different. Now I can see quite the similar steps in both countries, also regarding, let's say, the situation at the border, about the travel activities of the citizens and businessmen and so forth.
And maybe on the first question, shall we expect even more Austrian investments in Slovenia next years?
We get a lot of inquiries from Austrian companies about investing in Slovenia. So investment in Slovenia will continue. I cannot give you any numbers, but we every week we get 2, 3, 4 emails from Austrian companies informing us that they want to buy a company in Slovenia or establish a company here. So I think the activity will go on, because also the feedback from the companies that already have a subsidiary is very positive. And this is something that we report also to Austria. We are the Ljubljana office of the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber. And so our headquarters are in Vienna, and we constantly promote Slovenia in Austria. We have a website, we are active on Facebook, in the social media. So we not only answer to inquiries coming in from Austrian companies by mail or telephone about the business situation here, or if they want to find a business partner, we also do active promotion of Slovenia in Austria and show the Austrian companies all the benefits that they will find in Slovenia.
Thank you.
Welcome. Are there any more questions also maybe to Mr. Spitzer? If there are not any further questions, I would like to thank you very much for participating in this press conference. You will receive the press release later today, also the slides of the presentation. And I thank Mr. Spitzer for participating and acting as a testimonial and telling about his business in Slovenia and what he would suggest should be improved. And we hope definitely that next year in January it will be possible to welcome you again in person at Advantage Austria here at the building, in the building of the Austrian Embassy